Where do we have him tonight, Henry? Where's Scott?
I don't know. Where's Waldo?
He is in Turks and Caicos. Let's go with that.
Hey, nothing wrong with that, man. This kid is forever gone.
Forever, ever.
Forever, ever.
Jason Ross, the high flyer here, ready for some basketball at home. I know we got a bunch of road games coming up, but now it feels like we've been here every night.
Yeah, we've been here, you know what, a lot.
Yeah.
And for a long time.
I'm all right with that if the results go the same way as the other night. That was a journey getting through that double overtime game, but at least it ended with a W.
You know, Jason, I'm with you. I am with you because I would have been smoking. You know, we always talk about the plane ride after the players play.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, that ride home back to El Dorado, boy, I'd have been hot. I'd had to pull over twice. My front windshield would have been fogged.
Wait a minute. You're not like De'Aaron where you're like, the second I walk out of here, I'm not thinking another minute about this game.
No. He's a player. He's got to switch gears. I'm going to sulk in this for a minute.
Yeah. You know what? You're so right because obviously I'm not a player. You were. But the morning after it was yesterday, Orlando morning, because they were, or 2 days ago when they were getting ready to play Orlando, but they were just coming off Charlotte. I woke up upset, which is hard to do. Like I woke up, too darn early. I woke up and I was a little bit in a fog. I'm like, oh man, I don't feel. No, I'm. Oh yeah, I know what I'm mad about. I was mad about that Charlotte game.
You know what? Because it's different now that I'm on the different side. You know,
Yeah.
I'm media, so you know, as a player, I mean, you have to because I will say this, Jay, as a player, when you play a bad game and you go home, this is very hard to do. This is very hard to do. I don't care who you are. As a player, when you go home and you're one of the main guys and you played bad, that game plays over and over and over and over in your mind, and you try to put in different scenarios. You know, what if I didn't turn the ball over right here? What if I'd have made those 2 free throws? What if I'd have cut this guy off and, you know, took a charge right there? You play that over and over. Next thing you know, it's 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
You know, so it's very tough as a player, but as a fan, I'm like you. I wake up and man, this is some bull. We lost that game last night. This is some bull.
And some of them through 82 really don't faze me. Obviously, to me, I've always felt, and the Kings haven't had this experience in a while until this last year, it's the last loss. So after Game 7 last year, I mean, I was in a funk for a couple of days.
I was too, because I was so disappointed.
Yeah, it was such
at Game
fun,
7.
And then it ended. And in the way it ended.
Because you know what, though, Jason? And I had never had a playoff run.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, in my NBA career, I never had a playoff run, so I didn't know what it felt like.
But you did overseas.
But, yeah, I've had championship runs.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you this. On the media standpoint and a little bit of a fan's a point of view, that series was so draining.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because the first 2 games you hyped.
Yeah.
Oh, we was on top of the world.
Right.
And then we went down to Frisco, and all the air got let out. She was like, man. You come back here, and it's like, wait a minute. Now we go back to Frisco one more time. We're like, oh, yeah, I'm on an all-time high. When we hit Game 7 and came back here, I was still on an all-time high. But the roller coaster ride, man, was so dramatic. After Game 7, I was like, oh, my head hurt.
Well, I remember being drained, and it was 2 games in. The 2 games here were so fun, so loud, so energetic. You're like, man, we're only 2 games in. And also, if they're going to go far, there's a lot more to go, and it's exhausting.
I mean, it was like, whoo.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? This is just 2 games.
And maybe that's why during the regular season, like you said, as a player, you got to have to move on. But I got to ask you it this way. Okay, so there had to be a night in the league or overseas for you where the team lost. So nobody's thrilled about that, but maybe you had the game. Like, you were awesome. And so look, there's ego in this too. Like, so do you go home in a different way? Like, yeah, I'm not happy we didn't win, but that's kind of nice tonight.
You know, let me tell you this story, Jason.
Come on, be honest.
This is hilarious. No, I'm going to be honest too. You know, when you're the man overseas, it's a total different scenario than when you're in the NBA because, you know, even though you're Michael Jordan in the NBA, you still have Scottie Pippen. You still have other people who they really, you know, need to win a game, right? I had this one game in the playoffs, Jason. I had like 36 points. I had 10 rebounds, like 8 assists, and we lost by 1.
Mm-hmm.
President of the club came in the locker room and walked past everybody and walked to me and said, You couldn't score 37.
Tough love.
So it's kind of like that year, man, because they're asking you
Yeah.
to do everything. You're the end all be all. They're not going to those other guys, but it really put in perspective of how much of a business it is.
Yeah.
Because my president was my friend too, so I would always joke with him. I'm like, how come you guys don't ever go to those guys and say, couldn't you give me an extra 2 points?
Yeah.
He said, because we don't pay them $2.2 million.
They're not the franchise.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it really puts it in perspective.
Yeah.
Man, this is a business, and we're paying you all this big money
You are the business.
to make it happen.
Yeah. And, the reality, too, is like if we're going back to Fox on that, I mean, there's been nights, Henry, too, kind of that exact example where the Kings lose.
Right.
And Fox has 43, 4, and 9. And you're like, and everybody could do their part to help the win. But it's like,
Right.
It really wasn't him.
Well, I'll tell you what. If they would have lost that game, I'm pretty sure De'Aaron would have felt some type of way.
Yeah.
Because, when you are the alpha, you are the omega, and because I'm sorry, De'Aaron knew. That's why he deferred to Monk.
Right.
He knew he wasn't having
smart.
He very smart move. Yeah. So he knew he wasn't having a De'Aaron Fox type night. Fourth quarter, Fox wasn't in the building.
Right.
All right. That might be the first night we didn't see him. But when you go home and you go home on a loss, you feel some type of way.
Yeah.
Like you go home on a win, you like, man, ooh, that was tough for me, but hey, we got the win. Right. So it don't sting as bad.
Yeah.
We talk about it. Learning a lesson is a lot easier to take when you come off a W.
Yeah.
When you got to deal with it in the L, you like, man, it's just hard to swallow.
Yeah, you just want to get back out on the court. They're on the court tonight against this Toronto team. And I would expect Henry De'Aaron, I mean, we can count I wouldn't even say bad games, but the off games, because at the end, he had 2 big buckets in the second overtime.
Yes, he still
he'll be good tonight.
No doubt. I mean, that was one thing I didn't even question, Jay.
Yeah.
I didn't even feel bad about it.
Right.
It wasn't even a thought in my mind. But damn, De'Aaron had a subpar game.
Just missed shots.
I didn't feel that way.
Right.
He just missed shots.
Yep.
And we know those type of things, man, change at a moment's notice. It can change within a minute. It can change within a quarter. It can change within a half.
Yeah. And he's established himself now as that kind of player where he's got such a long leash. He'd have to put together games of poor play where we go, what's going on with De'Aaron? He's been so good where to compare it, it's like Barnes is here, Barnes isn't there. Herter's here, Herter's not here. Keegan, the inconsistency has been falling in other players. This, to me, was just a small blip for De'Aaron.
The crazy thing is, Jason, and when you look at what De'Aaron Fox does, the dude still had, 18, 19 points at the end?
Might have even been more. I have to look that up. Yeah. I mean, it was.
And that was a bad night.
Right.
Come on now. And that
15, but yeah.
Okay, 15 points.
Yeah.
But that's a bad night?
Right.
Well, I'm like Kobe Bryant. A bad shot by me is better than a wide open shot by you.
Yes.
If that's what you consider bad.
Yeah. And again, we've talked a lot about this team. They're such an interesting squad where they are right now, Henry. After that win the other night, 20-13. So through 33, they're ahead of where they were a year ago. There's been some odd losses. I think we could all admit to that. But bigger picture, like when we pull back and look at it, you go, 5th seed, 2 games ahead of last year. They've had a few more injuries this year. They've had probably more of the blowout losses. That, to me, has been the biggest thing. But it's not burning, but it's also not thriving at the same time.
And here's another little wrinkle that you could throw off in there, Jason. They're ahead of where they were last year. They were the number 1 offense last year.
Yeah.
They're not number 1 this year. But they're ahead of where they were last year.
Yeah, that's true.
So that throws another wrinkle in where you're like, well, they ain't shot the ball well, but they still playing better basketball.
Yeah. So, and I think we said this too the other night, Henry, that to me the most encouraging thing, and we'll get into some of the rumors and things that are going on out there with all teams, but certainly the Kings, I still believe their best basketball is ahead, and that's truly what you want. No matter what your record is now, what it is at the end of January, what it is at the end of February, where they get to where they want to be as a playoff team, you hope that's when they're really cooking.
You know what, Jason? I'm with you on that. I mean, we've seen games to where a couple of people have showed up. I think we might have seen one game out of the full 33 where everybody was shooting the ball with.
Yeah.
Maybe one game.
Yeah.
To where, we had a whole stretch when everybody was lighting it up. You know, we might have had a 10-game run to where you were like, man, these boys just can't be stopped.
Right.
So I'm with you. I think the best play, we still haven't seen it this year.
Yeah, it's coming. And tonight they get the Toronto Raptors, a team, when you're referencing last year, Henry, as far as the number one offense, historically the number one offense, the team that came in here and did the most to kind of bottle up Sacramento was this Toronto team. Now, they're not the exact squad, different coaching staff, but they're kind of that long, familiar sound here, athletic wing perimeter that, if that's checkbox New Orleans, maybe a few of the teams that have bothered the Kings this year are Minnesota, OKC.
Right.
This is kind of who they're going to be looking at tonight.
Another team. But I'll tell you what, Jay, they're looking at that type of team, but it's a team that just made a move.
Yeah.
And for this team, it's a substantial move.
Yeah.
You got 2 starters that you have that just came over, and these guys are definitely trying to show that, first of all, we belong. Number 2, you made the right decision.
Yeah.
And they want to start winning some basketball games. You know, Toronto is that club to where everybody is still thinking, okay, what's their next move? They're not done. But I'll tell you what, let them go on a good little run.
Mm-hmm.
They might be done.
Yeah.
They might stand pat with what they have.
Yeah, they've done some good things since the trade. Won the last 2. We'll talk more about this matchup, more stuff regarding the Kings. Want to tell you that more than 100 youth from our community need a mentor, and you can help. Big Brothers Big Sisters one-to-one mentoring program matches adult volunteers and children based on personal interests, life experiences, and geographic proximity. Now, the program serves children ages 7 through 18 who are being raised by single parents, grandparents, or foster parents in Sacramento, Yolo, and South Placer counties. Call 916-646-9300 or visit bbbs-sac.org to learn about being a volunteer mentor. For just a few hours a month, you can impact the life of a child. So stand with us, become a big brother or big sister. All right, Henry and I will take a break here on Game Night. We're back with more straight ahead here on Sactown Sports.
It's the Golf to Go Hour with Frank LaRosa. Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Saturdays at 8 a.m. on Sactown Sports. Get the latest on equipment, area courses, people who play the great game, and plenty of good conversations about golf. Golf to Go. Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Saturdays at 8 a.m. on Sactown Sports. Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, America's most awarded golf facility. Naturewood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices and always about quality.
Kevin Lewis with National Garage Door, reminding you that in Sacramento, National Garage Door is the king of garage doors. We service, sell, and install garage doors and openers. Call us today for your basketball special. A new 16x7 Rainer garage door with insulation and a belt drive opener for only $24.49 installed. Give us a call today, 916-638-4554.
638-4554 National Garage Door.
Power Business Technology is proud to be 100% independent, locally owned, and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients meet us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a 2022 Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer. Contact us today for all of your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BC. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
So here's a fact. 85% of the population will suffer from foot pain in their lifetime. That's almost everyone. So you'd think there'd be plenty of healthy long-term remedies, but there just aren't, right? Hi, I'm Dan from the Good Feet store. You know, people come in all the time sharing the same frustrating story. Bought this, tried that, been there, done whatever, all different kinds of things, but all with a similar result. Nothing. A discouraging and endless cycle of disappointment. If this rings a bell, don't despair. There is hope. If you think you've tried everything, you probably haven't tried Good Feet arch supports from the Good Feet store. They're designed to relieve, even eliminate, the pain commonly caused by certain foot conditions like plantar fasciitis, bunions, flat feet, and others. Plus, provide better balance and increased comfort. See what we can do for you with a free arch support fitting. Just stop in or schedule an appointment. With over 200 stores, there's likely one in your neck of the woods. Find yours at goodfeet.com.
Knee, foot, or back pain? Visit the Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, and Vacaville.
You own a truck because you want to get the job done right. Truck Smart is your work truck headquarters. For over 35 years, they've been outfitting trucks for leading construction firms, service providers, and municipalities in the region. Truck racks, toolboxes, lighting, commercial shells, rhino lining, they've got it all. And their expert installers will get it done right the first time. So visit the truck experts at Truck Smart today with locations in Rockland and Auburn. They'll make your truck your favorite tool. Trucksmart.com.
Back here on game night, Jason Ross in for Scott Marsh. The high flyer Henry Turner. We're going to give you Kings Live pregame coming up at 6:30. The G-Man Gary Jarrett will have the call of tonight's game between the Kings and the Raptors. Tonight's Point in the Paint brought to you by RT Painting, your reliable and trusted painter in the Sacramento market since 1998. Last game against Orlando, Henry, a Kings win. Points in the Paint dominated by Sacramento on that night, 66-24. And we heard before the game, certainly heard after the game. They stuck with the game plan, almost hurt the Kings, but it was, look, Orlando, one of the worst shooting teams in the league. They're second in points in the paint. So they built that proverbial wall in the paint, held them out of there. But the Magic hit a franchise record, and the Kings almost lost. But, I mean, look, that's the game plan they went with, and it almost burned them.
How often, though, Jason? Yes, Orlando could have came out, and they could have shot the ball well from three.
Yeah.
How many times do they come out
Light it up
and shoot a record on you?
Right.
And you're like, okay, we're going to build this wall.
Yeah.
We're really going to shut it down. You guys got to get it done from the outside. And they come in, they look like the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah. It's like, look, if you're going to beat us, you're going to hit threes. Well, they hit a bunch of them, and everybody did. And they all shot. I mean, it wasn't like they were 25 of 60. They were like 25 of 41 or something ridiculous.
I mean, it was like they were 60% from three.
Yeah.
I want to say probably might be the whole regular game. It didn't drop until they hit overtime.
Right. And then you could tell their legs got a little bit tired. It was tougher for each team to score in overtime. I think about one of the threes the Kings made was the Harrison Barnes running 1 foot three, step in as the shot clock expires that banked in.
And if he don't hit that shot,
it's over.
Where are we right now?
Yeah, exactly. Talking about a losing streak.
We're still angry.
Yeah, exactly. So tonight it's the Kings and the Raptors. We still have a little while, Henry, to go before the trade deadline, but this team that's in here is Toronto, and the Kings were, whether it's not officially a rumor with them, but you hear stuff with the Kings being interested in OG Anunoby and Pascal Siakam. Well, Anunoby's already been dealt. He's now a New York Knick.
Right.
But Siakam is out there, and I don't know personally what Toronto wants to do with him, if they want to trade him or not, but when you hear reports, if the Kings were interested, Toronto would be looking at a guy like Keegan Murray. That makes a lot of sense to me what they would want. I don't think the Kings would be interested in anything remotely like that.
I don't think so either. But you have to understand, Pascal Siakam, you know that the Toronto Raptors, they're not going to take a six-pack of beer and some sunflower seeds for this dude.
Exactly.
A legitimate all-star. He still is. I won't say Scotty Barnes is probably the franchise guy now, but, it was his team. So, you're not going to get just a bunch of fluff players and be able to trade for him. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, and here's the trick I think the Kings are in, Henry. They've got a good thing. And to me, generally, most teams, if you just do it in a blanket statement, what do people want to trade for? Talent, expiring contracts, draft picks.
Right.
The Kings have draft picks. The Kings do have talent. Their highest level of talent certainly is Fox, Sabonis, Keegan Murray. I don't think they're interested in trading any of those. Their best player that's an expiring contract is the most unique one on the team to me. It's Malik Monk, because I think he could be moved. I also think the Kings could spend this summer spending a lot of money on him to keep him. I think Malik's a really interesting case study for Monty McNair and the Kings, because I'm not really interested in trading him, but I think that's one that if you put him with maybe another larger contract and a pick, that could get you a player you want, but that's risky to me.
Very. Very, because first of all, he's still running for sixth man of the year.
Absolutely.
Right? He has to be your third leading scorer on this basketball team. He's probably your best facilitator on this basketball team. And then you have to worry about the camaraderie part of it.
Yep.
Are you going to get another guy that's going to come in here, because really, you think about it, Malik is coming off of our bench. You would think that the guy and for me, you would have to get a starter for Malik. That's the only way.
Absolutely.
I get rid of Malik. You have to get a starter for him.
A good one.
And then is that starter going to be willing to be not the number one option, not the number two option, because we got that already filled. Right. Is that starter going to willing to be the number 3 or the number 4 option on your squad?
Yeah. So again, I think that's where the trick. I've heard rumor, I think there was something else that came out today that said, Sacramento is, again, whether or not these are true, willing to offer up things like Barnes, Herter, maybe Davion, some picks.
And I see that.
I see that too. I see that. But again, now I'm trying to be as fair as possible. If I'm another team and Henry, I'm sorry, Barnes, Herter, and Mitchell, I'm not that interested.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
Exactly.
Hello? Are you still there?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not laughing at you, but I'm also going, look, you want one of my starters? And I'm looking at it from this perspective going, yeah, Barnes is a starter, but I know you're frustrated with him. Herter, you've moved to the bench, and Davion's underperformed. To me, that doesn't move the needle.
In order for you to get a starter, I mean, we're going to keep it straight 100 right now. In order for you to get a starter for those 3 players, you would have to be going to get a starter that's very disgruntled with where he is.
Yeah, you have to find the right one.
It would almost have to be like one of those Ben Simmons type deals or the James Harden type deal, to where this dude is really saying he don't want to be on this basketball team, and they're hemorrhaging so bad that they'll take anything for him.
They're trying to get off a contract, a disgruntled player. But if that's also the case, then that team may go, I might be able to get more for said disgruntled player or said contract I'm trying. So, again, it doesn't mean you don't try if that's what the Kings are trying to do. I think they could also, go the patient route and kind of keep this group. But now that we've seen 33 games, I think we've seen flaws. And, again, we know it's not a perfect team. It just depends on what's the ultimate goal. But being that Malik is going to come up in free agency, I mean, if you're riding with him, then you're going to pay him this summer.
Honestly, Jason, I'm riding with more of the camaraderie type thing.
Yeah, that's then the team's strength.
I would much rather gamble on just trying to pay somebody in free agency market than to move Malik, because Malik is such a huge part of this team, man. We talked about it early on. How many wins we got now? 20?
20 and 13.
I would say.
Oh, he's a big part of that.
He's a big part of 10.
Yeah, and I mean,
if it isn't for Malik Monk, you don't get 10 of those wins.
Yeah, and to your point, where look, I would think Malik is either the best 6-man or in the short list of best 6-man in the league, so top 5. Yeah, the starter you're going to get back is probably not as good as what Malik is in the sense of where you're putting that starter in, if that makes sense. So,
and like I said, and is that starter going to be willing to come here and be a 3rd, 4th option?
Exactly. So it's a tricky spot for Sacramento. It's not a bad spot to be in.
No, it's a good spot to be in.
Yeah,
because you have leverage.
You do with your players, and if another team is that interested, and this is also, I don't think the time to react. We're not, and it seems like the trade deadline's close, but stuff changes each week. 2 weeks, it's going to look different. The standings will look different. Maybe a team still thinks they're in it and goes, we're actually going the wrong way. And another player got hurt. It's like, yeah, we need to make a move.
You know what I will say, though? I will say this, and this is just in my eyes. In my eyes on this team, De'Aaron, Sabonis, Malik, and Keegan basically are untouchable, period. Now,
unless there's something ridiculous, right?
But there's no other team that wants to get rid of their guys that I'm willing to say, okay, I'll look at one of my guys and say I want to move him.
Yeah.
Of course, if you can get Steph Curry,
right? Yeah,
you might have to let somebody go.
Right.
If you can get a Paul George, you let somebody go.
Yeah.
If you can get a LeBron James, you let somebody go. But those guys ain't leaving.
Right. Well, and the trick, though, about, free agency, the Kings just don't have money this summer. And so I think they might have to do something similar to if they want to get a free agent like that. It's actually a really big free agent summer coming up. And you said Paul George. So I'm just throwing that example out. He's a free agent. I think you would have to trade for him now and then hope in re-signing, because in the summertime, you're not going to be able to sign him. So it's almost like they did Rudy Gay. Like they got Rudy Gay early, got him here, then re-signed him. But
Jason, the scary thing is the hope on that.
Exactly. That's risky.
I'm not willing to risk a Malik Monk or a Keegan Murray on a hope that this superstar going to want to resign back with you.
So then in that thought, which I don't think you're wrong with, then you might have to ride out with the squad, which is okay, but you just have to know there's still at some point you probably have to strike to make another move.
You know what? I'm not too down on riding with this same squad. I definitely would move some starters around.
Oh, as far as lineup changes?
Yes.
Yeah.
I definitely would move some starters around.
Like, would you put Malik Monk in the starting lineup?
I would.
Yeah, and I understand.
And I tell you what, I put Malik Monk in the starting lineup, and I would put Trey Lyles in the starting lineup too.
So I'm guessing your lineup is what? Fox, Monk, Murray, Lyles, Sabonis.
Yep.
Okay. And a lot of times that's the finishing lineup, Henry. A lot of times.
Hey, exactly.
Yeah.
And
So
see, that's what I'm saying. I would start those guys and then bring those other guys off the bench.
yeah, and what's interesting is, look, Mike Brown knows what he's doing, but I have found it interesting. I know why he likes Malik off the bench, but he started Keon Ellis, Davion, Duarte. The one he hasn't started is Malik Monk, and I know why he's doing it, but it's interesting that he hasn't tried it.
I do too. You know, but and I'll tell you what, how many games have we said they started out slow?
Yeah, plenty.
But maybe if they had Malik Monk
Right.
in the starting lineup,
Yeah.
you don't have to say, okay, Malik, give us this Herculean effort because we down 20.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he's super valuable. These are things that I'm sure the coaching staff is thinking about if they make a move, if they don't make a move. I mean, he has tweaked some things.
Yes.
Look, we're looking at, I was watching the Warriors last night. Steve Kerr has changed that lineup a ton. He did it again last night.
Have to.
Yeah, I think you just have to tweak.
You have
still.
to.
There's some non-negotiables
And, you know-
here. Fox, Sabonis, they've got to start, but, they can look at some other things.
And I'll tell you what, I'm so deep involved with Trey because I think he's a very smart player.
Yeah.
He takes what the defense gives him. Do you ever feel like Trey just forced a lot of shots?
No, sometimes I want him to shoot more.
Exactly. I think his basketball IQ would definitely keep him on the floor, and he's going to always be able to give you something solid.
Well, and especially I think, Henry, on your point on that is the concern might have been before the year is if that was your starting lineup, now you're sliding Keegan at 3. Ooh, can he guard threes? Well, he can.
Well, he's been guarding point guard.
Exactly. So that would have been my concern before the year, but now that we've seen 33 games, he's been their best defensive player.
On whoever.
Yeah, on multiple positions.
On whoever.
So that could work.
Keegan has guarded 1 through 4.
Yeah.
So, and I'm like, he's done a very good job of being able to guard these players.
Yeah.
So I have no problem with putting him at the 4 or the 3.
Now, just as a counter, it doesn't have to be this way. Look at it, Denver last night. They've got the best starting group in the league and one of the worst benches. How impactful is a guy like Barnes off the bench? I don't know that he's a spark guy. Herter can be. He's just not making shots. Bench might be a little thin, but I think your starters would be better.
But here's the thing, Jay. These guys are who we have.
Yeah, you're right.
What would you much rather have? A strong 5 or a serious 2 and maybe have 3 come off the bench and help you out?
Great point.
Give me my strong 5,
Yeah.
and then hopefully you can get 2 off the bench that's going to give you something.
Yeah, something really to watch and to follow. We're brought to you by Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. Check out their full line of luxury vehicles at mbofstockton.com. All right, we got more game night coming up. We'll talk more about tonight's matchup, more news and notes around the league as Henry and I continue here on Sactown Sports.
Harrison Barnes plays here.
Harrison Barnes drives it, hammers it. The Black Falcon soaring into the night sky on a Monday evening in Northern California.
Sactown Sports is your proud home of the Sacramento Kings.
With RT Painting, our name says it all. We are a reliable and trusted commercial and residential painting company serving the Sacramento area since 1998. Employee owned, our attention to detail is second to none. Put our decades of experience serving our community to use for you. Get a free quote today. Call us at 916-900-8112. That's 916-900-8112. Or go online to rtpainting.com. That's rtpainting.com. RT Painting, your trusted and reliable painting contractor of choice.
Denise has been playing jazz for 40 years. Last concert, one of the musicians fell sick with RSV. Respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV, is a highly contagious virus that can lead to breathing problems. This time, she's choosing to help protect herself with Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo. Abrysvo is a vaccine for the prevention of lower respiratory tract disease caused by respiratory syncytial virus, RSV, in adults 60 years of age and older. Abrysvo is not for everyone and may not protect all who receive the vaccine. Don't get Abrysvo if you've had a severe allergic reaction to its ingredients. People with a weakened immune system may have a decreased response to Abrysvo. The most common side effects are tiredness, headache, pain at the injection site, and muscle pain. Ask your pharmacist or doctor about Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo, respiratory syncytial virus vaccine. For full prescribing information, please call 1-844-989-7284 or visit abrysvo.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
The PGA Club fitters at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio know that golf should be fun. They also know that players of all abilities will hit the ball farther and straighter, play better golf, shoot lower scores, and have more fun if they get fitted before they purchase golf clubs. Hagen Oaks delivers the same technology and major brands used to fit PGA and LPGA professionals. See how the game can be even more fun. Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio fittings are available 7 days a week. Make yours today by calling 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531.
Hi, this is Henry Turner, a.k.a. the High Flyer. I've done a lot of amazing things on the basketball floor, but now it's your turn to be amazing. For more than 55 years, Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Sacramento has helped out the youth beat many odds. Too many littles, especially boys, are still waiting for volunteers, Big Brothers. Volunteers should spend at least 4 to 6 hours a month with local youth who needs guidance and support. So donate your time to Big Brothers and Big Sisters of the greater Sacramento area. Get involved. It's easy as a layup. Call 916-646-9300.
The NFL's leading rusher plays here.
And a handoff to McCaffrey, walks in the end zone. Handoff to McCaffrey, takes it right down to the goal line. He does his thing again. McCaffrey goes in motion right. Backwards pass led by Juszczyk. A block there. Hurdles a man. 10-5. Touchdown! CMC!
You can hear all of Christian McCaffrey's touchdowns on your home for 49ers football. Sactown Sports. KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, your flagship station for the Beam Team.
Should we light the beam? Light the beam, baby.
Sactown Sports.
Back here on game night, Jason Ross in for Scott Marsh, the High Flyer Henry Turner here. We're going to take you throughout the evening. Henry and I are back for Kings Live pregame, halftime, postgame. G-Man has the call coming up with the Kings and Raptors. Want to remind you can experience how the power of family can help your business office equipment needs today. Contact them at 844-POWER-BZ or go to powercopiers.com. Got to get our injury report in for tonight. Henry, tonight's injury report brought to you by our friends at Arnold Law Firm, providing justice for you since 1975. If you're injured, call the Arnold Law Firm at 916-777-7777. Good thing is, no real injuries to report with the Sacramento Kings.
Nice.
Got the squad. They've had the squad here for a while, and I'm hoping, if they run through, several games with this group that they can get on a little roll here.
I hope so, too. And having all you guys back, that's a big thing. That was one of the big things last year, Jay. The Sacramento Kings pretty much had their full roster. So they were able to use and be able to have at their disposal whoever they needed. So I'm glad that they're at full helm.
Yeah, for sure. And so tonight they get the Toronto Raptors. One thing that Mike Brown said, and we should tell you that, hearing the coach's show earlier today as he gets ready for tonight's game, that's brought to you by Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. The coach did say this, Henry, and I'd be curious about your response to this as a former player. When he was asked about the trade rumors, Mike Brown said in his press conference today, before the game, quote, "Everybody is human, so everybody feels it in one shape or form. It's part of our business. You just deal with it and move forward the best you can." Now that you've been on this side of it in the media and doing talk shows too, it's so easy, and I say I'm guilty of this, to get on there and say, hey, I went through the trade machine. I'm willing to trade Jason Ross and Henry Turner and send them to Denver and get these guys.
Yep.
And it's so simple to say this, but I do feel like people don't realize this, how you guys are human. And, literally, if you are out there coming home from your job right now and you work here in Sacramento and you find out tonight you and your family, you're moving to Cleveland and you had no say in it and you're working in Cleveland starting Monday, that's the way it is for you guys in the NBA.
Yes, that's the tough part when you're a family man.
Yeah.
When you have family, you have kids, your wife is rooted in the community. It's tough, man, to just and you have to do this because it's part of the game.
Or you may love where you are.
You have to pack up everything and go that night.
Right.
It's kind of like, you on the run,
Right.
and the feds knock on the door and say, you're witness protection. You got to leave right now.
Exactly. Get out.
Yeah.
Get quick.
Yeah, it's one of those situations, man. So it's tough. We understand it's a part of the game. And, you have some people, well, they make millions of dollars and, they don't do it. They just pay guys to move them. Yes, all of the tangible things are easy.
Yeah.
But moving your heart, moving how you feel about where you stay, your community, your neighbors, your kids' schools, that's tough because I've been there to when, you can deal with it. You're a professional.
Right.
But you got to come home and your kids are like, Dad, I miss my school.
Yeah, and my best friends are here.
That's the worst
Yeah.
thing you can possibly deal with.
Yeah, and I got to think, and you could tell me better, Henry, that, it was a little different when you played, the fact that there wasn't social media, so you might have to wait the next morning for Marty McNeil's article in the Bee saying, Henry Turner's fourth quarter turnover cost the it's like, oh, man, that stinks to read. But where now you can go on social media and say, people like, swipe of the fox, you're a joke. And it's like, man, it's that stuff, though, I feel like you guys would get used to. That trade deadline and getting dealt when you're ready for it, not ready for it, off season, whenever it is, that's got to be a shock to the system.
The only time as a player that you're cool with those rumors is when you're disgruntled. When you, like I said, when you're James Harden, I'm ready to go.
Yeah,
what? Phoenix called? Did they really? Yeah. Really? You're excited.
Call back,
right? But if you're on a basketball team, your teammates are your family, man, because you spend more time with them than you do with your family. So you love each and every one of these guys, man, and they become brothers. And when you start hearing the rumors, and like you said, social media, you hear them immediately.
Right.
It's overwhelming. Everybody's calling, and you're like, man, look, I don't know what's happening. They don't know what's happening. And then another thing is, if you're struggling.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you are struggling.
Then you got to press when you are playing for the team that hasn't traded you.
Oh, my God, because it's one of those things where you're like, I don't want to leave. I want to show these guys that I'm still valuable. I deserve to be on this team. And you shouldn't be out there thinking about that instead of thinking about, let me win this game.
Yeah, what's my assignment? What's my duties? But if I drop 20 tonight, maybe they keep me. It's that you just got to play in the flow.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So, it's so many things, man, that you got to worry about when you hear all of that, in the trade rumors.
And I don't know, in your experience, Henry, did you ever find that any GM along the line would, I don't know, if a rumor came out, would the GM maybe go to the player and say, look, that we're not, I don't know where that came from, but we're not doing that? Or did GMs just kind of stay away from that?
It depends upon the GM's relationship with the players. Because I've known some GMs to be straight out cool with players and say, hey, you know what, man? You ran your tenure here, and we're going to trade you, but where would you like to go? They've asked players, or they've said, you know what? Just if you're a team that's rebuilding, but you got that one veteran on your team, you say, you know what? You gave us a hell of a run. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to try to trade you to a contender to where hopefully you can go and play for a championship.
That's pretty cool.
Some.
And others
sometimes you hear, oh, well, we're not getting rid of you. You're untouchable. We love you. And then the next morning you find out you've been dealt.
Yeah, then your agent calls. It's like, wait, I didn't even hear from anybody from the team.
Right.
Yeah. Well, again, that's all that's going on here. And the rumors are going to continue. It's the reality of the sport. We want to say it's part of the business, but it is. Doesn't mean it's any easier on those guys. And I was trying to think, I was thinking of this earlier this morning, talking about it on the show, and I couldn't remember the player, but it wasn't that long ago. It was a few years back. There was a player that kind of not this time, but maybe the 2 weeks up to the trade deadline, got in a real funk for the Kings and then made it through the deadline. And it was like they found their game again. They were really worried they were getting traded.
Oh, yeah.
And you can tell that can be a factor on people.
You know what? We've had a few players to do that.
Yeah.
And I honestly think John Salmons might have been one of those dudes who trade deadline came and his game was in the toilet. And then once the deadline came and went,
found it again.
The dude started balling again.
Yeah.
It was one thing you go, whew. But you know what, though? You get that 2 times, Jay, because you get it around December.
Mm-hmm.
When that, when your contract becomes, fully guaranteed.
Yeah.
Because you'll get dealt around that time and your contract ain't fully guaranteed.
Yeah. Made it through.
Made it through.
We're brought to you by National Garage Door. Call today, for your basketball special, 916-638-4554. All right, so that's a lot on the rumors today. Let's talk a little bit about this game, the Toronto Raptors. So by making that trade, Henry, I like their backcourt. I like their starting backcourt now of Emmanuel Quickly, who was in New York, but now it's kind of given a new opportunity.
Yes,
RJ Barrett, also a lottery pick for them. High expectations, did okay, but a new opportunity. Now you got the anchor piece of Siakam and Scotty Barnes. Jakob Poeltl's a good center. That starting five is pretty solid.
I like Jakob Poeltl.
I do.
I think he don't get a lot of credit.
He bothered Sabonis last year.
That he rightly deserves for being, an old school center, man. I mean, a guy that can just throw the ball into down low, pound and grind down low, get rebounds, block shots. He's a very solid center, if you ask me, and he don't get the credit that he deserves. But like you said, I like Emmanuel Quickly. I've always liked his game. I always thought that he was playing behind Jalen Brunson and, really didn't get a chance to show exactly what he can do. RJ Barrett was always playing in the shadows of Julius Randle. So these guys come to a new team to where they're pretty much the focal point. And especially, Jason, if they move Pascal Siakam.
Yeah.
If they move Pascal Siakam, you got Scotty Barnes and those two guys. Ain't no telling what you're going to get out of those two newbies.
Yeah, and I think that's the other part. We were talking about rumors maybe involving the Kings or any other teams. Well, Toronto has heard about Siakam and Anunoby for months.
Right.
And so if you're constantly thinking, well, I'm also on this team, I may be thrown into that deal. So I think this one settles them down a little bit. And if they ultimately move Siakam, then I think they can fully settle.
And then, you talk about how players feel about getting traded. A guy like Pascal Siakam, he's been pretty much with Toronto his whole career, right? I'm pretty sure he's sitting like, all right, let's hurry up, man.
Yeah.
So I know where I'm going to be. Because if I'm going to be here, okay, I know I'll be here. But if I'm moving, I need to hurry up and get comfortable.
Yeah.
He knows he's going to be in the league. He's an all-star player.
Right, yeah. He's not going anywhere.
Some of these other players were like, well, am I going to get traded and cut? You never know.
Yeah.
But with him, I'm pretty sure when he hears the rumors, he's like, okay, well, Sacramento want me? That might not be a bad destination.
Yeah.
And then you hear another one, you like, whoa, wait a minute, Miami might step up?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I can do Miami. Okay, well, Portland? I don't know if I want to go to Portland,
Yeah.
So he's one of those guys where when you hear the rumors, you start looking at them saying, okay, where are they talking about now?
Yeah, and obviously the rumors pick up because Toronto's here tonight. But that's what's funny is, Monty McNair and Wes Wilcox, front office, they don't need to see him in person. I mean, they know what he's doing. They know what he's capable of. Now that they're here, the GM's here, Masai Ujiri is here. Sure, they can maybe have some other conversations, but everybody talks on the phone. Like, there's constant communication.
Here's the flip side of that.
Yeah.
If you're Pascal Siakam, you're like, hey, you guys know what I do. You know how I get down, right? I don't have to come to Sacramento and show up and show out. My resume speaks for itself. But if you're a guy like Kevin Huerter,
right,
and you're looking at this saying, okay, I want to win this game, but this might be my audition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true. And as coming off the bench, does that mean he just comes right in and because really his impact is scoring,
right?
So he's got to shoot, he's got to score.
Hey, this might be my audition. I mean, it's so many twists and turns to trade deadline, man. Yeah. It's crazy.
We got a few more weeks to go on that. Kings are going to try to get on a run. They play tonight. I think this is a challenging weekend with Toronto. Their record, I think they're better than their record. And then who's waiting on Sunday? Those darn Pelicans. The Kings crack that code.
You know what? Redemption. That's the only thing I can say about that. I'm not going to say nothing else about the whole scenario. Just straight out redemption.
Yeah, I'm anxious to see how the Kings play on Sunday, but they got to worry about this one first. But after those two, man, they're going to be gone. Then it's 12 of the next 14 on the road.
Rubber hits the road, don't it?
Yes, it does.
Because the guys they see on that road trip are hitters.
Yes, for sure.
You got to go through Boston.
Yeah.
You got to go through Milwaukee.
Yeah.
You got to go to Philly.
Yeah.
They got hitters.
Yeah, it starts, I would say, nicely with Detroit and Charlotte, but we just saw the team lose to Charlotte.
I was about to say, well, so what you saying, Jay?
So tonight it's the Kings, like we said earlier, Henry. I would expect what was nice about the other night is they didn't need Fox to go off. They got a lot of support. Keegan was really good. And Keegan's game, I want to talk about him because, look, he scored, but it wasn't, 8 threes or the night where he goes for 47 and is making literally every three-pointer. He had some of his best 2-point takes that I can remember.
He just didn't elect and settle. And we're talking about elect to stand behind the three-point line. Settle for just the drive and kick for three. He was able to put the ball on the ground, get to the basket, shoot a little fadeaway, shoot a little runner shot. He was very, very productive inside the paint.
Yeah. All right, Kyle just sent me this. This was just now, Kyle. Looks like this is from Shams within the last 6 minutes here. So they were talking earlier about, let me see. He had reported earlier the Raptors are ramping up trade talks surrounding their star forward Pascal Siakam, with a Western Conference playoff contender emerging as a serious suitor. There were some talks about the Kings, so on and so forth. Shams just 5 minutes ago or 6 minutes ago, the Sacramento Kings are deciding to pull out of the Pascal Siakam talks. Sources say things can be fluid, though. The Kings-Raptors talks are now over. All right. Doesn't mean trade rumors and other things can't happen, but
just that fast.
Yeah.
Just that quick.
Well, it also makes you wonder if, again, I'm going off reports. I don't know what's factual here, but everything we kept hearing, Henry, regarding anything for Anunoby or Siakam, we kept hearing the name Keegan Murray. To me, deal over.
Yes.
That's me.
Yeah, shut it down.
Yeah. Now, Siakam's great.
Right.
And many would argue he's better than Keegan Murray today, but higher contract. You got some decisions to make. Both those guys were impending free agency. You've got a guy on your rookie contract that you're developing. I'm not interested in doing that.
No.
And maybe that's where the talks ended.
No, and I'm telling you, for me, Keegan's untouchable, man.
Really?
Because
untouchable.
You're not getting LeBron James for him.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying. I don't even know what the deal is, but
I'm just saying right now on all if you go down the line and you look at who's out there to be traded, teams that are willing to trade their players, I tell you what, I'm not trading Keegan Murray straight across to Zach LaVine. No way, no how.
Okay, I'm with you on that, but I don't have a.
These are the biggest names out there,
right?
I'm not doing that.
I don't have the right name to counter you on this because I'm just thinking of a comp. I was not remotely interested in trading Tyrese Halliburton.
No.
Getting some Domantas Sabonis and went,
hey,
it makes some sense, but I was nervous about it.
We didn't even know Sabonis was available, though.
True. And then
they were still waffling between him and Turner.
Right.
And you were like, oh, okay, we don't know what they want to do.
We don't know those Turners.
But what I'm saying is that Keegan Murray, for me, is, as much as I like Kyle Kuzma, straight up, ain't happening for me.
Yeah. So you're no matter what, you're keeping Fox, Sabonis, and you'd like to keep Keegan.
Yes.
Yeah. And Monk, now we've learned too.
Monk is in there also.
Yeah.
But the thing about Monk is that, for me, he's such a big piece of the camaraderie, Jay. Because like I said, if you get rid of Monk, you want a legitimate starter.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
But is that legitimate starter going to come here and say, I'm willing to play three?
Yeah.
Am I willing to be third fiddle?
Yeah, and that fact of the camaraderie, I mean, him and De'Aaron.
They boys.
Yeah.
No, and not just that. Who gives all of Sabonis the little pocket passes?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And who gives JaVale McGee all the alley-oops?
Right.
Now you're affecting Monk.
Yeah.
You're affecting Sabonis. And you're affecting JaVale McGee.
And he's a walking bucket.
He's a walking bucket, bro. That's why I said it's hard for me to say with him with anything.
Yeah, that's why, we all play fantasy GM, but it's a difficult job. Contracts, timelines, trying to fit this all in, egos, what you're building, what you have, what your weaknesses are.
That's why they get paid the big
one
bucks.
player. Yeah, exactly. and I don't know that this team is I wouldn't even say one player from fixing it all, but they're not completely broken either. That's the trick.
You know what? I will say this. I don't think they're one player from being complete. No.
Mm-hmm.
No. I think they're two players from being complete. And the thing about it that this basketball team is looking to make that next push.
Right.
And I think they're two players away from saying, you know what, we're a legitimate championship contender team.
Yeah. And then you think about how some of those championship contenders teams have done it. This is not the exact way it goes. But Denver kept riding Jokic, Murray, and they had some other pieces there, and then ultimately they had Porter, but then they got Gordon. But that wasn't the first move they made. They had made some other moves. They were riding some other guys along the way.
Yeah, because remember Harris was there for a while.
Yeah, and Jeremy Grant, a few other things. And by the end now, what turned into KCP as some filler, Gordon, then Jeff Green, just veterans they added last year, and then all of a sudden that ended up being a championship squad.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like, just plug and play.
Right.
You really have to start thinking methodically when you have a basketball team that's good. Now, when you have a bad basketball squad, you just say, okay, give me the best player.
Yeah.
I need the best players I could possibly get.
Yeah.
But you're not in that position now.
Well, and some of the other teams, if we look at last year's trade deadline, made whopping trades. I mean, Kevin Durant goes to Phoenix. That's major. Kyrie Irving to Dallas.
Right.
Those are landmark trades, and they didn't net anything last year. Maybe some better things this year, but that's still to come.
Exactly. And it still haven't really panned out just yet. Yeah, you can say Phoenix is playing better. Okay, Harden to LA. Looks like it's starting to get better, but
Yes.
it still ain't there 100%.
Yeah, that's why we said there's multiple ways to do this. Patient, ride it out, work moves around the edges, a big move. Stand pat. You just never know. All options are in play.
You never know. I mean, like I said, that's why they get paid the big money, man, because, just one wrong move can derail everything that you've been doing.
Yeah.
So you really have to be methodical in what you want to do.
Yeah, for sure. Well, interesting, some of those things with Toronto being here. And again, the Shams report that tentatively it seems like talks are off, if there were even talks between the Kings and the Toronto Raptors. Nonetheless, Henry, they got to focus on a game tonight, and I think it would be great if we could see the Kings get win number 21, get this crowd going. This building's been awesome this year. They had the home clunker a couple games ago, but the other night, that was entertaining. That double overtime game was nerve-wracking.
Oh, yes, it was. I mean, we sitting here biting our nails for a minute. And but Jason, that's what makes NBA basketball so great. I mean, just to be sitting on the edge of your seat, going back and forth, watching both teams punch. It's like watching a heavyweight bout.
Yeah.
So, tonight, do I want it to be a heavyweight bout? No, I would like to win with a, unanimous decision.
Cruise into the finish line.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be a lot of fun tonight. So it's Kings and Raptors. Let's do a quick check of around the NBA before we get to Kings Live pregame. Busy night, everybody, but I think the Bucks and Spurs play tonight. So it's a busy, busy night. Did you get a chance, Henry, to see that finish last night, by the way, of the Warrior game, the Jokic near half-court buzzer beater?
No, I didn't.
Oh, man, that was incredible. So, here are the Warriors up big, blew an 18-point fourth-quarter lead. Jokic with about 3 seconds gets the inbound, lumbers to half-court, launches, bank in Nuggets win.
Wow.
So I think it's the fourth or fifth time this year that the Warriors have lost an 18-point lead or more in a game. That's not good for them.
And this is a dynasty team we're talking about.
Yeah.
I've said it. I said it from the beginning of the year. This is their last dance, bro.
Yeah.
This is their last dance.
Boston did get a final today. They routed the Jazz 126-97. Oh, man, the Pacers. What's your guess on the number of points they put up tonight, Henry?
The Pacers been scoring.
Yeah, they can. So the Hawks got 116.
Whew.
What do you think the Pacers got?
Game over?
Oh, it's over.
140s again.
Yeah, we went north of that. 150.
150.
150 in regulation.
Wow.
Tyrese had 20. No, he only had 10, but he had 18 assists. Yeah, unbelievable.
Crazy.
Well, we'll have all those scores coming up throughout our broadcast tonight. It is the Kings and the Toronto Raptors. Henry and I are back here in just a moment with the G-Man for Kings Live pregame. Thank you so much for listening right here on Sactown Sports.
Last season, the Sacramento Kings gave us a little bit of everything. A Pacific Division type GM of the Year, Coach of the Year, Clutch Player of the Year, All-Stars and All-NBA performers. Plus, we got to light the beam.
Here's a steal by Fox. The breakaway. He's got the rip.